Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Before we get started here, I just want to say that this weekend is MagicCon Philly, and should you find yourself in the neighborhood, please come say hello, and I have a pack of 3 tokens, and I would be very happy to give you one of those token packs if you find me. It is possible there will be a small content interruption as of the beginning of next week. I'm going to try to get a full extra week of videos recorded, but we'll just kind of see how it goes. With that said, today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and our deck list comes to us from Robert, who wants me to play Eggs. Eggs, or sometimes also called Second Sunrise, is a deck that plays a bunch of eggs, or many egg-like things. Basically, they're artifacts that give you the same amount of mana that you put into them when you go and sacrifice them. So our ultimate goal here is to go and play a whole bunch of these things and ultimately kill our opponent with a Bitter Ordeal. We search target player's library for a card and exile it, and it has Gravestorm. When you cast it, copy it for each permanent put into a graveyard this turn. You can choose new targets for that copy. So our goal is to exile our opponent's entire library by casting that card. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to play out a bunch of these spheres. We're going to sacrifice them a whole bunch. We're going to bring them all back with Second Sunrise and kind of loop through our deck until we find the Bitter Ordeal. And there's a couple of cute synergies in the deck. Number one is our Black Lotus. Lotus Bloom. Ignore the Suspend 3 part. We're going to try to ignore that with this deck. We are actually going to use Reshape, or maybe a Transmute Artifact, to search that into play directly. And while sacrificing an artifact sounds like a downside, when you are playing with a Second Sunrise or the very similar Faith's Reward, you just are going to bring back the things that you sacrifice anyway. And we can also loop our lands with Zuran Orb. We can sacrifice our lands and then bring them back with Second Sunrise. So this is the deck's plan. And kind of the big thing that I'm wondering is this anywhere near viable in 2023 Legacy? And unfortunately, I believe that the answer is that this is a hard no. Let's take a look at interaction in the main deck. We have Orum's Chant as a protection spell that also technically can stop 1 combat worth of damage. And that's basically the only interaction that we have. We're otherwise looking to, play solitaire. We're looking to beat a goldfish that's not interacting with us. And I worry that because we don't have any way to take out, a Murktide Regent or a White Bloom Adventurer, we're just gonna get run over before we can get our game established. And I'm 100% willing to try to do the thing as many times as I can, but I'm just very concerned that this plan isn't super viable. I also think this is just not going to be as fast as other combo decks in the format, and I think speed matters a lot. Phyrexia All Will Be One is bringing new combo cards to the format, such as the new Atraxa, which will probably see some amount of play in Reanimator and Show and Tell decks. And Venerated Rot Priest sort of allows for a new Infect Storm sort of deck to emerge. And I'm recording this on February 8th. Early results are showing that that deck is very powerful in Modern, and we'll see if it has any legs in Legacy as well. As far as the sideboard goes here, the interesting spice card is Soul Partition, which is 1 and a white for exile target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exile, its owner can play it, but it costs 2 more to cast. So we do have post-board interaction. We have ways to attack discard. We have ways to shut off an opposing graveyard. But ultimately, I'm scared of this one. It feels like we're gonna do a lot of clicking and fizzle some portion of the time. I don't know how good the Urza Saga is going to be as a backup plan without Ancient Tomb fueling it. I'm not sure that we're actually going to get to enough lands to turn on Mystic Sanctuary. And I get why this card is here. This card is here so that when you're going off, you can like bump these second sunrises and faith rewards to the top of your deck to continue your chain. Um, we'll see how this is. I'm really hoping to be pleasantly surprised, but the competitive player in me is looking at this with a raised eyebrow, going like, "Is this gonna get there?" And we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the matches here. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, we're going to be figuring out how to pilot this deck in real time here. It feels like I have lands and spells, so I probably keep this hand. I assume I go for it on turn 3 after sacrificing an Urza Saga. That feels like it's the plan. My opponent's mulliganing to 5 here. And if we're playing against some opposing combo deck, I just don't think I'm going to be faster than them, honestly. But we'll see how it goes. Play an egg. And we'll drop a Lotus Petal into play. Alright, it is a Delta. We could be playing against something like Reanimator. Okay. So, do I want to try to do nonsense this turn? I think I can. I think I can Transmute Artifact with these 2 mana sources, get rid of the egg. That gives me 3 total mana. I can get a Lotus, which is 6 total mana. So I can return 1, 2, 3, 4 permanents. It's only 2 redraws. I think I wait a turn. It feels like I wait 1 turn to just get extra cards here. But I have no heuristics for playing this deck. When this sort of thing was legal in Modern, I believe I was playing, like, Splinter Twin. Because that's basically all I did in Modern, while that was a thing that I was allowed to do. Okay, we have a new Phyrexia All Will Be 1 card happening here. This card is probably very good. I don't think it's quite Dreadhorde Arcanist, but it is strong. And unfortunately, I have no like discard spells in this deck or anything, so we're just gonna be trying to go off. All right, do I still want the Lotus? I get the Lotus off this, and I can't get Lotus off Urza Saga anyway. Urza Saga lets you get something with cost 0 or 1. If we look at Lotus Bloom, it just doesn't have a cost. So let's pick up another egg, I guess. Be a Conjurer's Bauble. Let's go ahead and fetch. Mystic Sanctuary very much not turned on yet. Lay out a Zuran Orb. I'll start here with Transmute Artifact. Sacrifice the egg here. Picks up a Lotus Bloom. Let's do some sacrificing of baubles. Ooh. Orm's Chant is a really good pickup for me. Let's cast this as a Silence. Targeting you. Oh, we're just doing it? Hell yeah. So I will sacrifice my lands. Gain some life. Sacrifice this. Second Sunrise. Okay. Maybe I didn't believe in this deck enough. Let's draw some cards, folks. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's go into blue. Blue. Let's transmute an artifact. Get rid of one of these. I'm just going to pick up another thing that lets me draw cards, I guess. Pick up another Conjurer's Bauble. I guess I should probably put these Sunrise effects back into my deck here. Seems like they are going to be important to me. Play out a star. Sacrifice it to draw a card. After all that, did I fizzle? Just whiffed on all of those draws. That's embarrassing. Yeah, we did the thing, and the thing was not good enough. Unfortunate. We made a few extra land drops. I have a large-ish Urza Saga. Yeah. I didn't track the storm count there, but storm count was pretty high. Urza Saga tokens will be 4/4s. Not the biggest. That is what it is. So we'll sacrifice that land to gain a life. We weren't able to get up to Mystic Sanctuary levels of mana here, which is unfortunate. Okay, talking about the text of this card real quick. When it deals combat damage to a player, you can remove 2 oil counters. If you do, you get to copy the next instant or sorcery that you cast. So do I start going? I shuffled that Egg Returner card that I'm blanking on the name of back into my deck. So now I can't bring it back with Mystic Sanctuary. But maybe that was a mistake. I thought I was going to want density of those things in my deck after I fetched with Misty Rainforest, but I didn't really realize that it was pretty likely to just whiff. I think I'm going to take another draw, and then I'll start looking at doing things here. Okay, sure. And now my opponent's going to have the ability to copy an EI or a Ponder or whatever it is that they cast, a Lightning Bolt. And they do not have to remove these counters. A lot of text on this card, and Redheart Arcanist is the low-hanging fruit for comparison. Listen to the previous episode of the Eternal Glory podcast to hear more about this card and some of the other recent, I would call them spoilers, but like they're just out now. Cards from Phyrexial will be one. Alright, I'm at 21. We'll see if my opponent wants to copy some stuff. Nope. Okay, it's just a Murktide Regent. And this is definitely the sort of thing that I was afraid of. So I can get more mana or another card draw. I guess start here by cycling this thing. Okay, there's a Faith's Reward. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. And do it around a daze very easily. But I don't get that many redraws here. I've already tried to go off one. That can return the Chromatic Star, and in theory, a bunch of lands. Ugh. So I guess I will reshape. For X is 1. Sacrificing a Lotus Petal. Pick up an egg. Go ahead and fetch. Will just be some land that's not Mystic Sanctuary. Go ahead and crack this for white. Second Faith's Reward is a thing. So am I just willing to just totally play into being absolutely destroyed by a Force of Will effect? I think so, given that there's 7 power in play. I'll fetch, pick up another island, load a mana, load some mana, sacrifice all my lands, and that's all done. That puts me at 29 life. We'll attempt a Faith's Reward. Oh, okay. So you're telling me there's a chance. Let's start cracking some spheres. All right. Do it again. Mystic Sanctuary. Let's go ahead and do this. Do that other Mystic Sanctuary before I draw it. Put a Faith's Reward on top. Yes. Am I out of targets for this? I'm out of targets for this. That's fine. So we're going to make a whole bunch of mana. Sacrifice all my lands. I believe we're now in a loop where this is just going to, work itself out. Cast Faith's Reward. Return all those permanents. Sacrifice these things. There's that Faith's Reward again that we know about. Oh, this doesn't actually do a loop like I thought it was going to do, I suppose. That's fine. I am more than good. I'll make a whole bunch of these, sack all the lands again. Puts us at a modest 55 life. Get some extra mana. Return everything. And let's keep going through these eggs. Alright, we have more second sunrises, but this is not getting through my deck very quickly. Alright, always yield to that. I am tired of doing that. Transmute Artifact is good. Eggs are whatever. We're going to do this on the channel once, and then I'm never going to play this deck again. This is an incredibly tedious amount of clicking. Transmute Artifact, sacrifice a Lotus Petal, just get a Bauble. My opponent has just asked what's the win con. I'll concede. Yeah. Oh. I will reshape Lotus Petal into another thing that draws cards. And keep going. Alright, so my opponent is willing to concede there. I mean, we did the thing, and we won a game versus Delver, but It was a, like, Keranos certified miracle that my Delver opponent had no disruption. I need to play some amount of removal here, but I legitimately don't know what parts of the engine I can touch without this deck falling apart. I imagine that I have to keep Orum's Chant, because most games are not going to go like that one just went. Do I go 6 of these? I don't think I can bring in these. Let's get rid of, like, a Petal, a Reshape. Get rid of one of these. These are my literal first matches with this deck. I did a match in the tournament practice room just to make sure that I could understand how the deck functioned. Sure. I will intend on trying to go off the turn Lotus Bloom comes off of Suspend. That's going to be my plan. So let's suspend that. I'm just going to play this as a tapped land here. I don't need to cast a Lotus Petal yet for any reason. Ooh. Every turn that I'm not getting punched is a pretty big win for me. Go ahead and cast some spells this turn. Trying to get some stuff out of the way. And let's see if we're going to face down like a Delver. Well, no, my opponent's deck probably doesn't have Delver in it. They're, like, the Mercurial... what's his face? That's not bad. Mercurial Spelldancer. Okay, I'm not going back through the log of my turn to look at what the name of that card is. Fake Dreadhorde Arcanist is pretty reasonable. 2 card types in graveyard. Alright, opponent is going for more mana. Gonna be an EI. Oh. Sure. That's actually super annoying because it means that I can't Orum's Chant in my upkeep in response to this. Which is a thing that I was planning on doing. Well, alright. So that occurs. I don't think I want to do Baby Second Sunrise here. I don't know, maybe I do. Fate's a counterspell? Maybe I do. Yeah, okay. Let's let that resolve. Cast Second Sunrise. This is all trying to play towards, like, an Orum's Chant play into, like, Lotus Bloom Face Reward. Somehow working next turn. Surgical on one of my spheres. A weird situation that I've found myself in. That actually probably makes it reasonably difficult to combo off, right? I'm just going to have a lower density of draw effects that I can use to keep the chain going. Alright. Oh, and it gives my opponent an extra land. Whoa. I'm going to assume that the remainder of this game is not going to go well. I didn't even manage to force my opponent to use a counterspell since they had the surgical. And without baubles, Faith's Reward is not good innately. Like, it's not just drawing cards. So we're gonna probably have to do some shameful things here. I'll cast a Transmute Artifact. Word. I guess miraculously, this is still only attacking me for 1. Okay, sure. Oh, man. Another fucking meltdown. Yeah. That's pretty good. I can make a bunch of white mana in response and, like, Faith's Reward these things back to play if I would like. It's definitely awkward. They still do need a combo turn at some point. Force of Negation is fine. I don't want to use my Orum's Chant until the turn that I actually believe that I'm going to try to win the game. I will take this hit here. And in a bit of an anemic situation where I have no cantripping artifacts to kind of get this whole Faith's Reward nonsense going. And I'm not really in a super good situation, even if I find 1 or 2, because, like, my opponent, yeah. My opponent both has a lot of cheap counterspells and just giant clocks like this that can hit play. Cool. That's not what I need. So basically I have 1 more turn to try and do something interesting. This is brutal. So there's 10 damage. I guess I will thin my deck of lands here, because I just absolutely have to draw a bobble right now. Nope. I guess Zuran Orb, Transmute Artifact, get a bobble, can't cast that. I have to pass the turn and kick Orm's Chant. That prevents a combat step, but now this isn't the protection spell that I need it to be. That's not gonna do it. Well, I guess I can try. Blue, 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 white. Sacrifice all this stuff. Gain a bunch of life. That brings me up to 15. I will cast a Transmute Artifact. Nope. Okay. Mercurial Spell Dancer, that's it. So at this point, I just can't get enough raw card draw to possibly win the game. I'm going to go ahead and concede here. Now that I know that my opponent wants to go for surgicals on eggs, I want this back in here, I think. Probably go down on another one of these effects since my opponent is playing a bunch of red elemental blasts. This is maybe okay. So let's lead on island, suspend that, play a sphere, and pass. The fact that I have to worry about Meltdown just wiping out everything that I play out before a combo turn is also kind of rough. So, like, I need to do this to build towards a turn where I go off, but Meltdown is devastating, and I think I want to save this as protection. But, like, it's awkward. Sure. Okay. Alright. That clears the Brainstorm. Makes the way for something like a Dragon Rage Channeler. No. The opponent probably has a Disruption heavy hand. Got no shuffle there. So next turn, I hope to go off. I can Orm's Chant with this on the stack, then have 4 mana afterwards, cycle some Chromatic Spheres, do Second Sunrise, and see if we can win. Very much need this Lotus Bloom. Sure. Alright, looks like Murktide Regent is happening. Which honestly, I'm really okay with, because that potentially baits a spell. So let's attempt a Swords here. Nap resolved. In upkeep, with this still on the sack, I think we're going to be going for it this turn. Let's attempt an Orm's Chant. Force of Negation, pitching a Daze. Alright, that's occurring. I need this Lotus Bloom. Need this Lotus Bloom. Ooh, wow, another Daze as well. That's brutal. Sucks. That's so much interaction. I can't get the appropriate mana at instant speed to get to Second Sunrise. Like, there's only 2 of those, but they were really important. This leaves a Swords to Plowshares in my graveyard, making my Second Sunrise not innately good. My Transmute Artifact just got a lot worse. So basically, like, let's draw Urza Saga, and then my opponent, like, doesn't have Wasteland. That, I guess, would be cool. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm effectively dead. I'm not literally dead, but that was brutal. I think I just stopped the turn there. I don't have another Lotus Bloom that I can get now because of that Surgical to do Second Sunrise and just bring these things back immediately. I think I'm just going to be conceding to the next threat that my opponent plays. Like, I'm not going to beat a Murktide Regent. I'm also probably just not going to beat a land drop, and my opponent getting another copy of Force of Negation or Force of Will. But we got a game. I'll take that. Especially when it's the first game of the video. Like, we demonstrated that the thing is doable. On Urza Saga. Not Urza Saga. I also don't have, like, cool alternative plans that I can do with Transmute Artifact. Yeah, like, these are really awkward right now. Oh. Not that Urza Saga is even necessarily going to race Dragon Rage Channeler. Don't have the cool things to do, like Shadow Spear or whatever. Alright, just going for another EI. Sure. Going to concede to my opponent putting another creature into play, I think. A Meltdown. Sure. It just takes out Zuran Orb, which is not the end of the world. This is somehow miraculously still a 1-1, despite the fact that it is turn 5. So, like, do have some things going for me. I'm sorry, I just don't see myself winning the game anymore without access to the Lotus. Like, these cards are borderline dead. It's so hard for me to build up enough to win the game without the Lotus. Especially with the Zuran Orb gone now, and like I'd have to Conjurer's Bobble it out. I'm gonna throw in the towel and just try again. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is more than just the deck building website that they advertise to be. It's a place where you can go to find articles and more than just deck lists. So for example, if you want to find out the people who are like brewing or a lot of the brewers with the most followers, that's something that's just readily accessible on this website. So consider checking them out. Okay. I have the thing that lets me do the thing. I have 1 land here. 2 total mana. The land enters tapped. I think I just mulligan that. Probably ends up being a keep. I'm gonna throw back the basic island, I think. Let's go land. Put this into play. Put this into play. And we'll see where we can take this. I wonder if I can try to... No, I need more card draw before I can try to go off. No. I don't wanna. I can do very cool things with Transmute Artifact, like Transmute Artifact, turn one of these into this is not where I thought we were going. That occurs. Not a counterspell deck. I'm not putting anything in. Oh yeah, it's a Traxa. Here we go. Reveal 10 cards. Yeah, that's really good. I really don't get to see what goes into their hand? That sucks. No chat indication. And because these things are going onto the bottom of the library, I just don't get to see it. Cool. That's probably not how that card is supposed to work. Or is it? So you reveal the top 10. Card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. I'm not actually 100% sure there. Now that I'm actually rereading that, that may not be a bug. Alright. So I don't have 5 innate mana here. I have 4 innate mana here. Which is a problem if this Transmute Artifact gets counter and I'm trying to use it as my bait spell. Yeah. Because, like, I'm pretty sure my opponent has Force of Will. Pitching in a Traxa, sure. And now I'm just a mana short of doing my thing, so I'll pass the turn and I'll try again next turn. So the other problem is, like, I just know my opponent has another Show and Tell now. Or at least has the possibility of, like, doing it again. They could have taken a Ponder. Yeah. I choose nothing. Okay. I feel fucking justified for telling Brian and Bryant that this card fucking slapped on the podcast. Absolutely justified. Card's so good. No sideboard, I think. Just try to do the thing again. We don't really have the ability to fight against an opposing combo deck. You know, we have no Force of Wills, Flusterstorms, or whatever. So the plan is be faster, but I just don't think we're going to be faster than this Atraxa Sneak and Show deck. Can I go off on turn 2? I draw another mana source? Probably not. This hand still might just be good enough to keep. Play a star, play a sphere, attempt to actually go off on turn 3, probably. Not the biggest fan of this, but I don't know how much better it's really going to get. Tundra, Petal, Star. I guess I'll play out the orb. It shouldn't really matter in any situation where I'm probably winning the game. Let's see how bad. it looks over there after a turn or two. Alright, land is great. I will need another mana source to get to 4 for Faith's Reward. But in theory, I've got the stuff that I need. Question is, like, am I willing to sacrifice those things next turn and try when the results of missing are just so disastrous? Oh, absolutely fuck me. Oh no. Okay. Okay. I don't think I beat that. I'm like 1 mana short of where I want to be. Cast Orum's Chant. Let's start looking. Another sphere. I can't cast Orum's Chant this turn and go off. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe the plan is get lucky, because letting my opponent untap is probably a disaster on multiple levels. Okay. Cast Reshape, sacrificing the star, which will draw me a card. There's ones on top, so Chant wouldn't have done anything anyway. Get a Lotus Bloom. Now I have 4 mana to do the thing. Let's sacrifice some lands. Go up to 23. Can I get this into play somehow? Just 3 mana, cast Sphere, transmute it into another one, get 3 mana again. Yes, I can. No, 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 no. Wait. I know a 1-drop is on top. That is a stupid plan. Fuck, how am I winning with a 1-drop on top? I'm just not? Okay, so I guess I cast this, return these things, and then try again another turn? Fuck. Okay. Alright, well, that's fair. And my opponent's sideboard counterbalance is particularly brutal here. Like, if not for that, Orum's Chant would have been great at trying to force my way through. At this point, I will concede to my opponent's show and tell for a creature of some kind. This is just not happening. Okay, sure. Alright, there's the show and tell. I'll put in a sphere. You've got a Grizzlebrand. That's fine. Like, we can stop there. GG's. Okay. I have a couple of eggs. I have no way to bring them back. I think I ship once, but I would keep a hand of similar power level a second time. Very unexciting. I'm going to keep it, getting rid of Reshape. I don't know, Reshape with Chromatic Stars, okay. Maybe I can get rid of a land. But I'm probably playing a slower game where I bide my time, kind of based on how this is looking here. I think I'm just going to play this, play out a Chromatic Star, and plan on playing an Urza Saga game that maybe converts into a more fair game later on. Chandra, Star, pass. Okay. Ancient Tomb is horrifying for us, honestly. Like, I can't really beat a Chalice of the Void, I don't think. Okay, why are my Pithing Needle? Okay, we're playing against the, like, hybrid 8-cast Painter deck. I'm definitely scared of this deck. It's been putting up very decent results recently. And my Urza Saga is going to be considerably worse than their Urza Saga. I'll still be playing it. I'll play this out as well. But this is just the thing that I can do every turn. Not to mention just, like, repeated draw twos, Pithing Needles. Oh. So they're going to keep the one that's not summoning sick. They're just using this to get deeper into their deck. Oh, they found Grindstone. So basically GG. That deterministically just kills me next turn. They have 3 mana already to activate it. Yeah. And that's before my Lotus Bloom is online. Yep. Oh, am I dead now? Not dead now. Okay, sure. Okay. I don't realistically think I'm on outs to win this game here. Island certainly does not help. Let's draw a card. Let's draw a card. No targets on that, just redraw. Yeah, that's 4 lands. I'm dead to the onboard Grindstone activation. So basically the bad news here is that I don't really have enough removal in my deck to realistically fight with all of the permanents that my opponent can put into play that I care about. So I can leave these in to fight counterspells, or I can try to ignore counterspells and attack the permanents. Because Chalice is rough. So I don't know. Like, this doesn't permanently answer a Chalice, right? It basically answers it for a turn. Is that even good enough? Uh, maybe? Don't have a lot of faith in this deck here. What does this hand do? Hand's a keep. I would like a second effect like this before attempting to go off. But in theory, I can go very fast. Like, I can transmute a Chromatic Star into a Lotus Bloom, cast Second Sunrise, turn 2. Turn 1, I guess, if I really wanted to. But that doesn't just feel objectively powerful enough. I am going to play out the petals now in case my opponent were to Chalice on 0, as that would be a problem. Alright. Chalice could happen. A lot of things could happen now. Thoughtcasts and such are very real. That is just turn 1, 1 mana Thought Monitor, NBD. That's a great hand. Okay, sure. My opponent is pretty far ahead here. They're still going to have a 5-card hand while just having very respectable mana, half a combo in play, and also technically a clock. I really feel like I'm keeping up with the speed of the format at all. Okay. So I have a lot of ability to bring stuff back, but not a lot of initial ability to draw cards and do things. Maybe I just need to go. I don't think things get better for me if I'm waiting here. So let's attempt to transmute an artifact. Oh, this pause means my opponent has a counter spell. Yeah. Okay, I think that means I'm just dead. Like, it's not an immediate death, but losing that mana source is kind of a huge deal. Like, I'm just gonna get pecked to death 2 mana at a time, but an Urza... Yikes. An Urza Saga will accelerate this game out of control pretty quickly. Reshape. I hate this. I hate this so much. Alright. Alright, do this for X is 0. Sacrifice the star. Draw a card. Lands. Okay. Mana's not what I want here. Get Lotus Bloom. Play land. Crack for white. Cast a second Sunrise. Attempt a redraw here. Try to find another thing that draws a card. Okay. Well, we're gonna do this the hard way, it looks like. Cast a Faith's Reward. Cycle this again. I need more things that draw cards. Fuck. No. This is the saddest attempt at trying to go off I've ever seen. I'll stop after this one, I think. I don't know. If I stop, the Haywire Might really fucks me up. Please? Another thing that draws a card, I beg you. No. Alright, am I willing to go one more time? Or do I just want to pass the turn? This getting exiled is potentially huge. But I don't think I can give up my last Sunrise effect here. I don't know, I could randomly just, like, draw the Gravestorm card and win the game, right? Alright. Make some blue here, I guess. Do it one last time. Attempt to draw a card. And we've fizzled. That's disappointing. But if I don't go for it, I just, like, die to land drop Painter as well, right? Deck requires so many moving parts to interact properly without being disrupted to go off. Thanks for showing up. Although I guess if I hit on a second sphere and I start drawing 2 cards with each of those, it does end up being significantly better. Sure. I'm going to take 3 in combat here. And one of my current issues is the fact that, like, if my opponent's not casting cards, these are interaction spells. Sure. I think I don't crack this yet. I think I try to wait until I'm under more pressure. Okay, the opponent has mana. I'll go down to 9 from this attack. There's a second sunrise. I don't think I'm interested in it this turn. I think I just take at least one more hit here before attempting this. Again, if I am just starting a chain with a single card draw, I just don't think it's going to work. Sure. Also sure. I don't really have anything that I want to soul partition out of play. That's quite good. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1. Probably go for it. Attempt the chant. Okay, it has resolved. So let's try to do some cool shit. So let's sacrifice both of these spheres. Play out this bauble. Probably do want to put a sunrise effect back into the deck here. Leave one in graveyard for Mystic Sanctuary in case that's a thing that somehow ends up happening this turn. I don't think it can. Okay, you're attempting to exile that. I respect that. My opponent can technically bring that back as well as bring their Lotus Petal back. Alright. Play a Zuran Orb. Go ahead and sacrifice this. Pick up another land. Let's sacrifice some lands. Soul Partition's not looking the best right now. And we kind of have to hope this goes well. We get a couple of redraws. Okay. You may grindstone me. Can I win after Bitter Ordeal goes into my graveyard? Yes, I can put it back into my deck with this. Yeah, this will be fine. Fetch. Mystic Sanctuary. Put a second sunrise on top of my deck. Yes, I will use that ability. I'll Conjurer's Bauble. Put Bitter Ordeal back into my deck. Goes after my Zuran Orb. That is fine. I'm going to sacrifice all my lands in response. That puts me to 18. Exile target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. Do I want this Zuran Orb back? Draw some cards and then decide. Let's cycle through both of these. I know what the first one is. I don't know what this second one is. It's just a land. Opponent can gain the life. I want to soul partition this. Haywire Might Lotus Petal thing is just something that's going to happen every time. I just let that go. I think I just let that go. Right. Bitter Ordeal's back in deck. Play an egg. Rack an egg. I've already played lands here. Let's make extra mana. Recast second sunrise. Go ahead and fetch. You can gain the life. Go at this egg. That's fine. I will crack it. Pick up Mystic Sanctuary. Mystic Sanctuary. Target second sunrise. Yes. Now cycle some of these. New second sunrise. New Faith Reward. Yeah, we're pretty good here, it looks like. Alright, there's a Transmute Artifact. That makes it so that I have plenty of mana. Although I think I already have plenty of mana. Like, card draw is probably the limiting factor here. Just sacrifice this and take another card draw card. I will pay the 1. Back through that. All fine. Add a disgusting amount of mana to my mana pool. Cast Face Reward. I believe I still have 1 island in deck. Yes. Draw some cards. Bobble. Guess I can safely put some of these back in deck to just decrease chance of fizzling. I don't know exactly how likely I am to fizzle. Okay, there's the Bitter Ordeal. I believe at this point this very easily kills my opponent. Each permanent put into a graveyard this turn. Yeah, I believe we're already, like, very much at the point where I kill my opponent. I'm going to play a few more things and then cast that card. Okay, at this point, I believe I'm more than good. I'm going to go ahead and cast a Bitter Ordeal. 53 permanents put into graveyards. That will exile the remainder of my opponent's library. You can gain some life. I'll Like some bonus mana. I now have to manually exile this. Okay, all those went on the stack, and now I just start exiling my opponent's cards. I'm not going to make you watch this. Okay, and we will finish exiling my opponent's entire library, and I still have to click OK a bunch of times. Okay. Call it a turn. Yeah, I can discard some cards. That is not an issue. And then my opponent loses to decking themselves. And we have to do that again. I'm happy enough with how I've sideboarded here. Okay. Chromatic Star Transmute Artifact is a nice, air quotes, combo. I think I'm going to keep this hand. It doesn't do a lot immediately, but I think I'm going to suspend Lotus Bloom and hope that I can play the game at that pace appropriately. All right, draw your card. Reshape is interesting. I think I'm just going to go ahead and suspend this. I think I'm just going to do a Misty this turn. Play out a star. I will just go ahead and drop a Lotus Petal. I'm going to be F6ing all of my opponent's turns. If I have to combo off again, it's not fast. Okay, I'm just dead next turn. I don't think I can combo off on my turn. I'll give it the old college try, but the amount of luck required to make that happen is insane. So in order for me, well, I could just Soul Partition Painter or Grindstone. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm doing. I should have played Urza Saga, though. And I am absolutely greeting it up here. All right, opponent's floating mana. This not permanently answering the card, I think makes this just absolutely unplayable within the context of Legacy. Mana costs are so low that, like, the tax of 2, you're not just immediately winning the game, is brutal. Sorry, brutal for me, not for my opponent. Okay, they have named Zuran Orb. That is fine. And my opponent just goes for it. So I will attempt to remove Painter. I lose to a counter spell here. Okay, yeah, there's the counter spell, and the Grindstone activation kills me. GG's. Okay. Legit, do I just want to play a game where I play a turn 2 Urza Saga, activated a bunch of times, and then play another Urza Saga? I don't feel like that wins games, but my plan A sure isn't winning games, so let's try something a little bit different. Oh, just more Delver? Existence is pain. I can't beat this deck. And if I'm wrong and this is show and tell, we've also seen that I can't beat that deck either. It's just so much faster than I am. It's bad. It's bad. Alright. Play Lotus Petal. See if it randomly gets dazed. I'm gonna play Tundra as Wasteland bait here. Good news is, if I manage to go off somehow, I do have my win condition. But the bad news here is that I'm probably facing down a Dreadhorde Arcanist effect as of this turn. And that does trigger off of things like baubles. So my opponent, like, almost 100% gets to, like, do the thing as of next turn. And my artifact count isn't really high enough to make Urza Saga the payoff card that I need it to be. I can make very sad plays, like just cast an Orum's Chant to slow down my opponent. Alright. I have some things technically to do. I think I'm going to save the Orum's Chant. Let's get that suspended. I think at this point... Oh no, my opponent doesn't cycle the bauble. Uh-huh. That's a disaster. So that sets me back an entire turn worth of Urza Saga activations and also eliminates my end game here. And that Mercurial Spell Dancer does not have 2 oil counters on it, so I'm not taking, like, my opponent isn't accruing card advantage yet. Alright, you get a card. Alright, good. I want to see more artifacts. I need to get my Urza Saga tokens out of range of Lightning Bolt. That's very important. Okay. Speaking of, So now my opponent can, like, attack me and get a free lightning bolt if they would like. Or, sorry, it's not exactly their turn again. It's the next thing they cast, so that's not actually true. JK. So now they can remove these counters, and they will. So the next spell that they copy happens twice, so this could be double expressive iteration. Yep. Guess what? You cast a spell, right? So guess who gets an oil counter? We'll see how broken this ends up feeling. It's going to look very good on the other side of the table right now because, like, I am not doing anything to interact with my opponents. So, like, please don't take this league as an indicator for how good Mercurial Spelldancer is. Like, let's give it a proper evaluation in a more real league at some point. Of note, this is unblockable. Just throwing that out there. That's very much a thing. Let's fetch this now so things can't get weird with Wasteland. And I guess in theory there's some timelines where I can try to combo off, but I only have a single redraw effect as of right now. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. You would like a lightning bolt? No, that's fine. That's an EI finding lightning bolt. I'm just dead. Oh, that took instant out of the graveyard for the time being. So, not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. I take 3 rather than 5 in combat. Oh, JK. It came back. 3 oil counters on this now. Wasteland goes to the bin. I am at 9. Sorry, I'm at 4 after that, so then the lightning bolt copy just kills me. Yeah. I guess I could have cast Orb's Chant there to technically... Fuck! Okay. 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 No, that's cool. Alright, let's play a couple pieces of interaction here, and let's board down maybe a couple of these blue cards. I don't think I can cut any eggs. Really need these to find a bloom, though. I don't know. Fuck it. No. I think I have reached the point where I think my deck is so bad that I'm just going to try to do the thing and hope everything goes okay on my end. This doesn't feel keepable. This has problems. I'm going to pitch the Orm's Chant here. That is a card that I very much want. But as of right now, I just don't have enough raw mana in the hand to attempt second Sunrise with another card in play. Or sorry, how do I say that? I don't have enough mana to attempt second Sunrise with Orm's Chant as backup. Like, that's just not realistic as of right now. I don't mind this, but I think I just need to accumulate a whole bunch of stuff in play. The fact that my Urza Saga isn't going to lead into a Shadow Spear is kind of a... Okay. Alright. Please don't have a 1 on top. All I'm asking is no 1 on top right now, and then no meltdown afterwards. Holding Tarn on top. Operation Activate Urza's Saga enough times to win the game is a go. I think it's a bit of a sketchy plan. Not gonna lie. No shuffle there. Okay. The good news is my Urza Saga tokens are immediately at least 4/4s. Orm's Chant is interesting if I try to combo off, but I can never remove counterbalance from play. So that's probably just not happening. It's just, can I win the game with 2 Urza Saga tokens? That's all this game is about now. Yep. These things are unblockable. Sanctuary can bring back a cantrip, that's fine. Okay, no immediate copying effects. That's nice. Again, these are unblockable, so I don't need to mess around with Urza Saga here. Let's activate this. A 4/4. I know there's a 1-drop on top, by the way, so Don't think I'm gonna try for second Sunrise Orm's Chance shenanigans this turn. Although I will get something to set me up here. Probably Zuran Orb. Now, these can't be blocked, but they can block. Doesn't look like my opponent's in the mood for it here. We're just going to be chilling. Alright, Lightning Bolt targeting me. Let's just always yield to those. Oh no. So I could just die if my opponent has Fire Blast, right? So like my opponent casts Ponder, and then they cast a Fire Blast and they copy it 2 times. 16 damage. I'd have to sacrifice both my lands to stay alive. Disgusting. There is a shuffle there. And in theory, I'm presenting lethal, right? I unfortunately don't have available mana here. Like, I can take game actions, but my opponent's coming at me when lethal is on board. So that means, air quotes, some shit is about to happen. My opponent is brainstorming in response. Boy, it sure feels like they have Fire Blast. There go the counters. Oh. Uh-huh. No, I see where this is going. So I will sacrifice that in response, and this 2 life is going to be on the stack, and then I'm going to die because I didn't preemptively sacrifice my lands to this shit. Yeah. So now I can go up to 12 life, and I die with an extra Zern Orb trigger on the stack. Like, I knew what was coming, and then I just didn't play around exactly Wasteland. So I guess that is what it is. Yeah, GG's. We'll be dropping at this point. Alright, so that's the end of this league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Nowhere in the ballpark of Legacy viable. And I'm going to do a long outro here. So I'm going to talk some like Magic deck building theory. So buckle up. We're going to go deep. Let's go full screen mode for this one, I think. Delicious. Okay. So, generally speaking, in Legacy, you either need to be doing something very fast and very unfair that kills your opponent quickly, or you need to have format appropriate interaction in your deck list that prolongs the game to the point where you can win. And if we take a look at this deck list, what turn would you expect this deck to attempt to go off on? And I say attempt because like we fizzled multiple times. And my guess is probably turn 4 most of the time. Like you can do some really neat things earlier on. But realistically speaking, especially in the face of any interaction, I would expect this deck to attempt to go off on about turn 4 or 5. Like you have some tools that set you up well, but like if you are playing Legacy and you are waiting for a Lotus Bloom, you're doing it wrong, right? While your opponents are accelerating things out with Chrome Mox and Ancient Tombs and Dark Rituals that cast things right now, you are waiting for things to tick up. Similarly, this deck isn't a good enough artifact deck to make Urza Saga construct tokens that will normally kill your opponent. And so, accordingly, that means that this is a glorified fetch spell for like a Zuran Orb or a Star. So, in terms of deck building, I don't think this deck is going at the appropriate speed for Legacy. And there's no real plan B. Like, the 3 of Urza's Saga does not feel strong enough to realistically deal the 20 points of damage required, given the very good removal and wastelands that are present in the context of Legacy. So what that means is this is a deck that is all in on doing the combo, but the combo isn't fast enough, and there's no I win button. This isn't Tinker, where in Vintage you can just find a Bolas's Citadel or a Blightsteel Colossus, a Sphinx of the Steel Wind, and just bam, you win the game. And additionally, beyond all of that, this deck is also very tedious in terms of click, very slow it's very realistic that you will time out if you have like 3 real games with any sort of back and forth interaction, or your opponent disrupts you and you have to try to combo off multiple times. Beyond that, this card requires a single copy of one card in order to win the game. And if you miss this card eats a surgical extraction. This card eats, something else of that nature. Probably not a counterspell, because like Gravestorm is going to happen. But like, you would instantly lose the game to Thoughtseize on Bitter Ordeal surgical extraction, right? And there's just no way that you can bounce back. As far as the sideboard goes, Soul Partition is not a legacy playable card. Like, especially since you won't just win the game immediately after removing something, like as we saw with that like painter scenario. Like, my opponent could like realistically just recast that painter, right? Just like one turn later recast that painter. Because I'm not winning the game quickly. So I think Soul Partition is just going to be worse than some other bounce spell that costs less, or something that permanently exiles, like a Prismatic Ending. And I don't think this deck sideboards very well, in that you have this janky core engine, and removing any one of the pieces is going to dramatically impact your like ratios for your cards. So basically what I'm saying here is there's not a real reason to want to play this deck in Legacy at any sort of competitive level, other than just like nostalgia. If you really enjoyed playing this in Modern for some reason, when like that was a thing that was legal, or some other format where you used to be able to do this, like, enjoy your nostalgia trip. But I don't think this is a particularly powerful or fun deck list. This one is very much not for me, and I don't even really think with tuning that you can get this to a more competitive place. So I hope, Robert, that was helpful to you in some way, and I hope you got a kick out of watching me combo off a couple of times, though. I personally enjoyed seeing these new Phyrexia All Will Be One cards in action. Would love to hear your thoughts about them in the comments. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya.